Hello, I'm attorney Paul Whalen from Afford Law. At Afford Law, we practice criminal and family law throughout Massachusetts. Our fees are all set on a sliding scale, which is based on your income. What that means is that the less you earn, the less you have to pay for our legal services. Today, I want to talk to you about parenting plans in Massachusetts. What is a parenting plan? Well, if you're going through a divorce or if you're going through a paternity action and there are children involved, you have to come up with a parenting plan. That parenting plan will include a number of issues that have to be addressed. First of all, physical custody of the child or the children. Basically, the physical custody is where the children stay for the majority of the time. Where do they sleep? At whose house and for how much of the time? So typically, one parent is the custodial parent, another parent is the non-custodial parent. The custodial parent is the home where the children spend the majority of their time. So that has to be hammered out and that has to be included in the parenting plan. Included with that is visitation time or parenting time. So how much time does the non-custodial parent have? What at what times do they have them? Is it one of the do they have them like one night during the week and every other weekend with alternating holidays? That's a typical plan, but you can work out your own plans as far as visitation goes. That has to be, of course, approved by the judge, but there is a lot of discretion that you can that the judge has, and there's a lot of flexibility for each couple to go through to try to come out with what's best for the child. Another thing that must be in the parenting plan is addressing legal custody. Basically, legal custody is who makes the important life decisions for the child or the children. Things such as medical care, religious upbringing, educational questions, things along that line, where the children will go to school, and how is that going to be decided? Are both parents going to get a say in those important decisions? And if there's a disagreement between the parents, how do you determine what the final outcome is? Does the one parent get the last word, or do you have to go through some sort of process to come up with who has the legal custody decisions for the children? Another thing that should be included in a parenting plan is what they call the right of first refusal. So let's say that your children are with either you or your ex, and either you or your ex at the time have plans, they have to go out or whatever it is, and so somebody needs to care for the children, babysit, in other words. Should the other parent have the right of first refusal? So that just means if somebody needs to be with the children, should it be the other parent? Should they have the first opportunity to provide care for your children at that particular time? And if they cannot do that, then a suitable babysitter or family or friend or whatever would take it from there. But a right of first refusal gives the option to the person who doesn't have the child at that particular time to provide care. So that should be included in your parenting plan as well. Another thing is expenses. Now, it doesn't mean child support. That's a separate issue. Child support is financial assistance from the non-custodial parent to the custodial parent. There's a formula for that, and that's something that's addressed separately. But in addition to that, expenses need to be addressed. So beyond the basic child support, what about academic tuition or costs for extracurricular activities, vacations, anything along those lines? Things such as medical expenses, unpaid medical expenses, co-pays, braces, whatever it might be. There's a whole host of things that will come up during the course of the children's lives that need to be addressed. It's best to get things hammered out as best as possible at the time of the when you're drafting the parenting plan. Of course, there are so many things that could happen. Not everything will necessarily be able to be addressed at that time, but you should try to take in as much as possible going forward. Another key clause in a parenting plan is what they call a non-disparagement clause. That just means that it's stated that each parent should not speak poorly of the other parent to the children or in the children's presence. Now, it shouldn't even have to be included in a plan. It's obviously best for your children not to have them hear you speaking badly about the other person, and vice versa. So it shouldn't have to be in there, but it should be included in case one person is disparaging the other one. Then you have the right to petition the court and go before the court and have the judge try to intervene to stop that particular behavior. So that would be either on a contempt proceeding or something along those lines. Relocation of one parent with the child is another issue. So if one parent wants to relocate, say the custodial parent wants to relocate and take the child with them, either within the state or outside of the state, that should be addressed in the parenting plan as well. Typically, if the custodial parent wants to leave the state, they must have the court's permission to do so. They can't just take up and leave with the children without having the court's permission. And the non-custodial parent would have a lot to say about that as well, and could oppose such a move. But even within the state, especially if it's going to be a move where it separates the custodial parent, from the non-custodial parent from the child, you'd want to have that issue addressed as well. Because if that's going to happen, if that is determined to be in the best interest of your children, a parenting time visitation schedule may have to be adjusted, where the non-custodial parent might get longer periods of time with the child, so that they're not going back and forth and having to travel so much. So that's something that should be addressed. Age considerations of the children, as I say, as the children get older, things are going to change. Things that are appropriate for an infant won't necessarily be appropriate for a toddler or a high schooler. So keep in mind that this plan has to grow with your children and be flexible enough so that it can address issues in the future that maybe you are not even thinking of at the time where you're going through drawing up the parenting plan. Dispute resolution is another important clause that should be in the parenting plan. If you're having problems with your ex about the children, about raising the children, or whatever it might be, how is that dispute going to be resolved? Will you have to go before a judge? Will you have some sort of alternative dispute resolution, mediation, for instance? That's something that is wise to have in your parenting plan as well, so that you can have that in place, and hopefully you'll never need it, but you'll have that there going forward in case you do have that particular issue. And another common issue, which you probably wanted to address, are new partners of each of the parents. So as you go on in your lives, you probably will have new people introduced to your life as partners, as significant others. How is that going to be addressed with the children, especially when the children are with the particular person for overnights, either for the custodial or non-custodial parent? Will the other partners, will the new partners have to be excluded from such things? Can they be included? And what exactly would happen with that situation? So these are just a few things that should be included in your parenting plan. There are a number of other issues that could be. Every case is different, as every client is different. So this will just give you some idea of the sort of the broad topics that you should include in a parenting plan. As I say, at Afford Law, we do practice family law and criminal law throughout Massachusetts. We're trying to make ourselves as affordable as possible to the hardworking men and women of Massachusetts. Please feel free to visit us at affordlaw.org, and feel free to book a free virtual appointment with me. I would be happy to answer any questions that you might have about criminal law or family law in Massachusetts. Because at Afford Law, we're making justice affordable. Thank you.